similar presentation. I'm just looking at the time, about a year and a half ago. So you'd be surprised at how many pieces have changed since then. So how do we continue to adapt? Know that you might need to do more active recruiting or tapping of talent. So hiring portals, so Indeed and LinkedIn, with some of their paid features, are now offering the opportunity to review candidates who either may be looking for a job in the case of Indeed, or may not be looking for a job in the case of LinkedIn, who match your criteria, and you can actually invite these people to apply. That's something that's usually, that was traditionally left up to a recruiter. You might need to start doing that now. Being really upfront and offering flexible work environments, better work-life balance. You know, the 60-hour work week is not going to cut it anymore, especially at the director level, where candidates feel like they've paid their dues. You know, with the pandemic and the she session that that came from that, that's now leading to a reentry into the workforce. But these folks have a much different perspective and much different priorities in what they're looking for in a position. Salaries commensurate with experience, but leaving opportunities for growth. We talked about this a little bit before with the salaries, but one of the great things about salary ranges being more transparent now is that nonprofit employees are finally demanding their fair market value. And it is, you know, maybe perhaps outing employers who have had the capacity to pay staff more and have not. But that might not be you. You might not, you know, and I think a lot of the organizations we work with are in this position where you may not be able to afford to necessarily be competitive with your salary. So think about, this is where that salary and benefits thing go hand in hand. What can you offer a candidate that will compel them to work for you if you can't offer them the salary? You know, what does that work-life balance look like? What benefits can you offer? What flexibility can you offer? One that has really just come up, I would say, in the last month or two, which has been kind of surprising for me, is candidates asking, is this organization sustainable? So if you are, why are you sustainable? There's, I've been seeing a lot of candidates who just started their most recent position as early as January of this year or December of last year. And what they have said to me is they were, you know, looking for an opportunity for advancement, looking for a new position, a leadership position. They were lured by salary, by benefits, by the you know, leadership or growth opportunity. And then they come in and there's a dramatic change in leadership. The person who hired them now leaves. They restructure their organizational priorities. They're in the middle of strategic planning and they didn't say anything. And that's really, you know, a classic bait and switch. Candidates feel really blindsided by that. And it's not something necessarily that they have thought that they need to think about. And so it's been coming up more and more. So be prepared to answer questions about, you know, is this sustainable? Why are you hiring this? You know, why haven't you had this position before? Why did the previous person leave? Be as transparent as possible in your process. And then another little piece, consider compensation for the interview process. We've been talking about how time consuming it can be, even if it's just something that's more symbolic. It's not a whole lot, but it's something. And again, that two-way street, a candidate's really going to respect an organization that that shows that they understand that this is time consuming for them as well. A few more things. I know we're getting really close, but I just want to get to that last slide, Loree. Here's some other things that we recommend. The flexibility in evaluating applications and applicants, keeping an open mind when it comes to the cover letter or resume formatting. This can be really hard for those of us who have been, you know, Gen Xers especially. We have really strong ideas about what we like in terms of colors and font and what we don't want to see. You know, don't get distracted. Look at the content. You know, I received a cover letter once that was a JPEG of an iPhone note, really off-putting, but the content was really good. So, you know, and then we didn't even get into ChatGPT and AI. It can write a really great cover letter. So make sure you're looking at everything, the application package as a whole. Evaluate whether hybrid and remote work truly works for your organization and what that means for you. We've talked a lot about this, so I don't want to go into too much detail on that. Again, be cognizant that organizations and candidates are also evaluating, candidates are also evaluating you and your organization. So again, be very timely in your responses, transparent through the process, your energy and passion, especially if it's a Zoom interview, make sure that you are exuding the energy and passion and excitement that you have for the organization, because they're looking at that as well. Transparency, transparency, transparency. They have, the development world is very small. People talk. And so make sure if there's any kind of elephants that could potentially be in the room, that you are upfront, you don't disregard or ignore them, and be prepared to talk about them with candidates. Don't turn a candidate off, but make sure that you're transparent as possible. And finally, development professionals are in demand. Be realistic about your expectations. And the bottom line, keep an open mind, be transparent, and really just try to enjoy the process.